Jeff,
Becca.
are you ready to talk about a movie?
Mm-hmm. I am.
You're so ready to talk about one of your favorite movies?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Let's do it. All right. Welcome to the Close-Knit Cinema podcast. Jeff and I are siblings who love to talk about movies, and on this show, we take turns discussing some of our favorite movies.
Yes.
So, whose favorite are we discussing today? That is the first question. And the answer is...
It's one of mine.
Yes. It's one of Jeff's favorite movies.
It's almost like we're going back and forth.
What?
It's like... Nothing.
Do you want to start over?
No. I mean, like, in terms of the movies. Like, one for me, one for you.
I thought you meant our dialogue. It's like, yes, we are going back and forth, Jeff, or literally.
Yeah.
Yes. No. So, the movie we are discussing today is Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Yeah. Don't forget the Judgment Day part.
Oh, I made sure it was there. Anyway, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, and Edward Furlong. It was released in 1991.
Yep.
It was written by James Cameron and William Wisher.
Bill Wisher, yeah.
And it was directed by James Cameron. So we're just following our James Cameron train.
We should probably split that up, like not do another James Cameron movie for a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. So, summary of this movie. Set about a decade after the first Terminator, the movie follows Sarah Connor and her son John, the future leader of the human resistance against machines. A new, more advanced Terminator, the T-1000, made of liquid metal, is sent from the future to kill young John. However, the Resistance also sends back another Terminator,
Yep.
T-800, the same model that once tried to kill Sarah to protect John.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, where does this movie fall on your list of favorites? Your undefined list.
So, I mean, I think this is probably pretty accurate. It's currently labeled as number 2. It's my number 2 movie right now.
T2 is number 2, okay.
Like, outside of my number 1, like, I'll admit the top 5's a little bit fuzzy, but I think 2 is pretty solid for this one. Like, that makes sense to me. And talking about the movie, you'll see why. Like, this movie's pretty significant to me.
Okay. And what makes it your second favorite movie then?
Oh my heavens. Where do I begin? This is a lot. So as many people experienced, I'm sure, in the 90s. So at some point, our dad, he recorded this off of television somewhere in the mid 90s. I can't remember exactly where. And I can still picture the VHS. It had Terminator 2, and right below that it had written Turtles 2. So I'll always think of Ninja Turtles 2 in relation to this for some reason. So as soon as the movie ends, I'm like, I can hear the theme for Turtles 2. As a kid, I don't know, like, I was just very quickly just enthralled with this movie. And there's so many reasons. Like, Arnold as the Terminator, to me, was like the coolest character, like the coolest thing I had ever seen. And like, just the design of the robot is just iconic. It's so cool to me to this day. I just think it's the coolest robot. I built the little metal earth figure of that, and it was like the hardest thing to do, but it was so satisfying when it was done. And like, it's kind of weird. It sounds a little maybe is it masochistic? Is that the word? I'm saying that wrong. It's a little messed up, but like, as a kid, like, the second like his skin starts falling off or coming off of him and you can see underneath in the metal, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy cool. You know, it wasn't gross to me. It was just like, whoa, that thing's rad. Like, I dressed up for Halloween.
I was gonna say that.
You know, we had
Terminator.
We had one of those classic like robot arms that wasn't like officially labeled as Terminator, but it was
the little plastic one that moved the
one
fingers.
in Tommy Boy that he has during the fan scene. Like, it's the same exact one. We had that. I used that for my arm. Did eye makeup to make it look like my skin was pulled off. All of that stuff. And this is going to sound really weird. I kind of like wanted to be a Terminator when I was a kid. Like, even to this day, I think of it differently. It's like I challenged myself to see if I could play a Terminator in a movie. No joke. Like, there are moments where I'm driving around in my car and I'm like, what would a Terminator act like right now? And I try to do it. Like that, to this day, I still do that. It's really weird, but it's the truth. And I was thinking about this watching the movie. So much of the movie is through the lens of John, a child, essentially, that this movie, despite being rated R, is very approachable to a child, in my opinion. Like, I mean, that's what makes the ending so impactful, is that you're seeing it through the eyes of a child who's like really sad that they're losing their robot friend, you know? That sounds like a kid's movie, even though it's very much an R-rated movie. But speaking of which, like, I think me and you and Dad, one of the first R-rated movies I ever saw in the theater was Terminator 3, because I was so excited a new Terminator movie was coming out.
Did I see it?
I think you went with us. I think the three of us went and saw it. Like, we were still pretty... I mean, I was probably 13 or something like that when we went and saw it.
Interesting.
So you would have been like 10.
Because I don't remember that.
I swear you went. I swear you did. But maybe I'm remembering that
I
wrong.
do remember watching the third one. I just don't remember going to the theater.
But like, and I was thinking about the movie too, where it was just like I felt like a lot of the themes, a lot of the messages resonated with me. It was like, I don't know that anything's super original necessarily in this movie, but to me it was. You know, I was like, oh, these science fiction concepts, or like just the ideas of, you know, the value of human life and all that stuff. It was like, oh, wow. Like, I felt like I was being taught something, you know. It had this very profound thing. And I remember it was a big deal that Universal had the Terminator 3D experience, which, you know, Dad especially loved that and dragged us to it, and I was more than happy to go to it. It was super cool. I wanted to explain my relationship to the first movie. I love the first movie as well. I would say the second is a little bit more precious to me by virtue of it being the first one I saw, which I think was a lot of people's experience. They saw the second one, and then the first one came later.
Okay.
But I remember as a kid, the movie heavily like references the first movie. It talks about it a lot. And having never seen it, I was almost like, oh wow, there's this whole other movie, and it's like this mysterious thing that I haven't seen.
Right,
and
there's all this backstory that I haven't.
And I remember I think I told Dad, I was like, I kind of want to watch the first one. Why haven't I watched it yet? Like, I need to see it. I was like, what am I doing with my life? And he eventually went and rented it from like Blockbuster or something, which, and popped it in for the record. So like edited version of it. And he pops it in our family room and starts watching it with me. And I remember immediately being like not immediately, but pretty quickly put off by it. It was like so much darker and grittier, and seeing Terminator as like Arnold as the bad guy, like I actually didn't like the experience initially. I left the room like probably 20 or 30 minutes in and didn't come back.
Wow.
And I remember Dad telling me, you're missing out on a good show, you know, like and then like it wasn't until years later after that we found out, like looking at the TV guide, because we had that then, oh, it's going to be on a local station, it'll be edited, we should record it. And I remember I had to leave for some activity, and I came back and the movie was just wrapping up, and like I was still kind of like, wow, I mean, even at that age, I was like, I could tell it was a bit dated, which is so different than Terminator 2, because it doesn't look dated almost at all. There's very few moments. Like there are a few, but like very few moments that look dated. But anyway, I love this movie. I'm going to be talking a lot. I'm going to try and be as concise as I can, but so good.
No, I agree. It is a good movie.
Yeah.
I enjoy this movie.
Oh.
I honestly don't know if I had watched it all the way through from
Really?
beginning to end. Like, I know I've seen it, but I feel like it was all just in pieces of when you or Dad would watch it. So anyway, that being said, this being that first time, I was actually really surprised at how entertained I was by it.
Yeah,
it's a very intense movie.
Oh, you okay?
Like, I'm gonna go the intense route. Like, I was what phrase was I wanting to use? High strung.
Really?
I felt very like
stressed or
high strung, anxious, like almost the whole movie, but in a good way. Like but it's like that was so surprising to me because I know everything that happens in the movie, and yet it was still sitting here like high pulse, my heart rate going, and
I think there's an aspect of it as being an adult, like it hits differently, I think, as an adult.
Yeah, maybe that's part of it as well. But yeah, anyway, I did enjoy it, and I think it, like as you said, holds up really well. Mm-hmm. Like there's very few CGI shots that I would say, it could be a little better, but
they got the liquid metal aspect pretty spot on. And that's basically the only CGI in the movie as far as I know. It's just the liquid metal parts. Like, that's it. And not all the liquid metal is CG either, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, like, everything looked really, really good. I just find, like, the full metal man shots a little, like, that's the only thing. Yeah. That's the only thing I would point out. Yeah,
and I mean, that was, like, top of the line brand new stuff. Yeah, that was pre-Jurassic Park, for crying out loud. It's kind of like this movie walked so Jurassic Park could run. Is that the saying? Like, yeah, I think there's something to that. Like,
no, this movie is known for like kicking off that huge increase in the CGI world.
It's funny how James Cameron, it says a lot about him, I think. Like, so many boundaries have been pushed as a result of the films he's made. Because it started actually with The Abyss in terms of CGI, and then Terminator, which then led to Jurassic Park and everything else. But then you think about now, even with Titanic and then Avatar, obviously, he's like visual effects and CGI, like, almost as much as George Lucas, James Cameron is a huge part of that.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. But yeah, I like this movie. I was going to touch on, like, it has nostalgia for me as well.
Sure.
Because Dad loved this movie.
Mm-hmm. He did.
And I just found it funny remembering, like, specific things that he would say while watching it. Like, he would do this thing with his favorite movies where he would just like turn it on just to watch like a very specific part of a movie, right? It's not like he's turning it on to watch it from start to finish. He would turn it on and go to a very specific part.
Yeah.
And he would do his thing where he would say something along the lines of like, watch this, and just like make you just watch and just be like, but watch. And you're just like standing there watching this scene. And then the big thing happens in this memory of this movie when Arnold Schwarzenegger jumps off of that like overpass on his motorcycle.
Yep.
He jumps off and lands, and he's like, "Holy crap!" like it's just the coolest thing.
I remember him always commenting on that scene too. That like, man, the shocks on that bike, that would hurt so bad if you were human. Like,
yeah, I think that was one of his like most watched scenes, and like.
Yep.
And the other thing I remember him saying to me a lot with this movie is when it shows Sarah Connor like working out
doing pull-ups
in her room, he would just be like, "Do you think she could kick my butt?"
That is such a dad thing to say.
And I'd always be like, yeah, I do. But anyway, so it is a fond memory, just given how much Dad loved it, and
yeah,
we were exposed to it quite a lot. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
What do you think? You kind of touched on this, that it had messages that resonated with you as a child. What do you think the movie's trying to say?
Oh my gosh, I gotta fly through this. There's so much. Okay, let's start with the obvious one. The risk of AI, which is pretty relevant right now. It's pretty relevant. I don't think AI is anywhere in the place where it's like gonna kill us.
No.
At least not literally.
It's
but
not gonna start a war.
There is a lot of conversation about it like killing our jobs.
Yes.
That's a thing,
Very
you know.
real.
And I like that's kind of the big one for me is like how much control are we willing to give this? It's not really control though for me. It's more how much are we taking away our ability to think? That's what worries me a little bit, or taking away from our creativity. Some would argue that it's helping creativity. It's helping it make it possible for people to do things that they never have done before. But man, at least in my line of work, I don't think it's to the point where it's really great. Like, I mean, it can be helpful, but some people rely on it too much. And I think that's kind of relevant to the movie, you know, and
right.
But there's so many other things, right? The biggest one that stuck out to me watching it, and I think I want to say this had an impact on me and how I view the world. It makes it very clear that killing people under any circumstance is wrong.
Yes.
Any circumstance. Yep. And it asks the question, and I'll bring this up, that like Miles Dyson, he is the Terminator franchise's Oppenheimer. Mm-hmm. And I actually forgot. She basically mentions that.
Yeah, I have that written in my...
She brings up the hydrogen bomb. I'm like, oh yeah, Miles Dyson is Oppenheimer in this movie. But they introduce this idea of like, well, if you could go back in time, and usually people will say, kill Hitler, would you do it? In this case, it's like, would you kill this person who, you know, unknowingly maybe, you know, they had good intentions, but they do something that ends up blowing up the world.
Right.
And I think the message is like a resounding no. You don't. Because human life is valuable, and John understands that, which is part of what makes him a great leader. He understands the value of human life.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big one, and I have held true. Like, I think about this, like I have a thought exercise in my head, like how far could I go in terms of like keeping myself from killing someone? And I've kind of come to the conclusion, like, I don't think I could kill a person no matter what. Like, I say that, I know that's like, you never know till you're in the moment, but I'm like, worst case scenario, it's like someone's holding your children hostage and the only way to save your children is to kill someone. Would I do it?
Right. Not even then.
I'm kind of in a place where I'm like, no, like, it's not my fault if my children, you know, don't survive whatever this circumstance. This is worst case.
You're right.
I don't think killing is ever justified personally.
Okay.
And I think I got some of that from this movie. Like, I just don't think it's justified. But anyway, it's saying that, it's talking about how humans are naturally, you know, destructive, and like we just, it's in our nature to destroy ourselves. They kind of throw that in there, and John recognizes that even as a child. But I already mentioned Miles Dyson, you know, he's the Oppenheimer of the story, and good intentions can lead to bad things, which is unfortunate. You know, people have great intentions, and sometimes they don't think about the outcome until it's too late, you know, and I thought that was interesting that we're talking about this movie and Oppenheimer came out and that was such a big deal and made me think of that, you know. And then the other big one was how we are in control of our future and our choices do matter. You know, there is no fate but what we make for ourselves. That's a really cool thing to think about. Like, it's surprisingly an optimistic view. You know, a lot of people think, well, whatever happens, happens. But it's like, we do have some control, I think, right? And then on top of that, there's the idea of like parenting and how good parents can have a huge impact. Like, they don't paint his foster parents as being great.
No.
You know, it's like,
unfortunately,
there's definitely a message of like having your biological parents can be very beneficial in your life.
Yeah.
And one thing that I noticed and thought about a lot is Sarah has that inner monologue where she talks about how this Terminator that's devoid of emotion, and this is really kind of sad when you think about it. She's like, he's almost the ideal father.
Yep.
That's kind of weird.
The best father you could have.
So John, having not grown up with his father, because Kyle died in the first movie, I thought about it. Sarah probably grew up without a father too. They never explicitly say it as far as I know, but they only ever mention her mom in the first movie, who gets killed, by the way.
I don't even remember that.
yeah, like her mom gets killed in the first movie, and they make no mention of a father figure in her life, which that's a common thing where it's like you see that continue through generations, like generations of no fathers. And so anyway, that was some of the stuff that resonated with me, but like just there's a lot to unload, surprisingly.
I'm actually surprised at how much you pulled out, because for me, I mean, it's not one of my favorite movies, and so for me it was more like just the base stuff that stuck out to me message-wise, of like mostly seeing it as a warning of you know, creating advanced technology and the human race being warned of potentially, you know, doing these self-destructive things. That's like kind of just what stood out to me. But that now that you're like saying all this, it's like, yeah, there is a lot more in there. I knew it was there, but it can go a lot deeper.
And to be fair, this isn't one of your favorites. So.
Right, which is why I said that. Like, I didn't think about it on that level, but it is cool to hear you point out all that stuff. And I did, you know, write down the Miles Dyson being related to Oppenheimer. That was interesting.
And I love that they like show that like once they explain it to him, he buys into it. He's like, oh yeah, wow. If like it makes you think, like, if you had known people who do bad things, you know,
it doesn't make them bad people
necessarily. Right. Yeah.
Because they might really not know the consequences.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about things that happen way down the line, like. But do you like how this movie ends? Let's talk about the ending.
I love the ending of this movie.
Okay.
As far as like changing it, like I think it's pretty spot on. There are a couple things that I'll get into later that, like, as the movie as a whole, I think there are some things that could be changed if I'm being super critical. But no, I love the way this movie ends. But I do want to give a shout out to, like, you didn't watch the extended edition, I'm assuming. No. I didn't this time either, but the extended edition at the end has some interesting stuff that I think is pretty cool, and I don't think it detracts from it necessarily, but like they actually start showing that the T-1000, after breaking apart and then melting back together that last time, starts malfunctioning. Like literally starts malfunctioning. Like he puts his hand on a railing randomly and he can't control mimicking it, and he like becomes attached to it.
That sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah, like I've probably
this
seen
is all
it then.
You can see this in the extended cut. It's all there. But then like the part that's like super pivotal to all of this is that when he mimics John's mother, the way John knows that it's a mimic is that he malfunctions and his legs turn into the floor a little bit.
Oh, interesting.
So it changes that moment. You could argue that takes away from, like, John can just tell because it's his mom. But I mean, I don't think that would have detracted from it for me personally.
Yeah.
The one thing that I was thinking, like, would be interesting to see, what would the ending have played out like if Sarah managed to kill the T-1000 herself? Like, would that have made it better or worse? I'm not totally sure, because like I feel like so much of the movie shows how capable she is.
Yeah,
she's like she basically escaped from the psych ward or whatever on her own.
Right.
They didn't technically need to save her.
Yeah.
But at the end, it's like she does everything she can, and technically it's not enough in that moment. So I'm like, I wonder if it would have been a cool payoff to have it so that she gets enough shotgun shots to knock him off the edge and win.
Yeah, I kind of didn't remember that last little bit of her shooting him and running out of bullets.
Yeah, it's like, shoot, you know.
I actually think I would have, found that satisfying if she did just blow him off the edge. What's weird, I had a obviously incorrect memory. I thought that somebody kicked him into the lava. So when she ran out of bullets, I was like imagining that John was gonna come up and kick him in or something.
I swear there's a movie that
Maybe
that
there's
does
something,
happen.
'cause
I
I
don't
was-
know what movie you're thinking of, but like a similar situation where something deformed gets kicked.
Yeah.
I don't know what
kicked
that
in-
movie is, but I know what you're talking about.
I don't know. Yeah. Part of me
Shoot.
was like, was it Lord of the Rings and Gollum getting pushed into the lava or something? But I
No,
don't think that was it.
there's something we grew up with. I'll have to think about that. That's gonna bug
But
me.
yeah, I thought that was pretty funny because when she ran out of bullets, I thought for sure that someone was gonna run up and kick him into the lava. And then I was like, oh, okay, I guess I misremembered.
But having said all that, though, the moment when he shows up on that weird, like, I guess it's a gear or whatever for that machinery,
Rotating him up, yeah.
and it's got the glowing eye, and he pops up, and he's got
Yeah.
the grenade line. It's such a cool moment that I have a
Yeah.
hard time being like, I love that.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
But anyway, so I think it's pretty dang awesome the way it is. But that's the one thing I'd be curious about is like, would it have been cool if Sarah just did it on her own?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that going either way. I think I personally would have enjoyed it. I could see it being cheesy though. So, I am not in total agreement with the ending.
Yeah.
I do like it, like for the most part. Like you said, it is cool, that moment where Arnold's rolling up and just blows him away at the last minute. And I do really enjoy the emotional aspect at the end where John is so upset
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
the Terminator has to be destroyed.
I got to give props to Edward Furlong too.
Yep.
He does a good job in that scene.
Yes, he does. He does a really good job.
As far as child actors go, he's pretty great, and I think it was his first movie. Pretty sure.
wow.
I think he had done pretty much nothing up to that point.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
shout out to him. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
His performance was really good. But yeah, I do like that aspect that it came to that moment where I keep calling him good Terminator in my notes. The good Terminator has to be destroyed as well. I think that was smart, and the emotion worked because you did get emotionally attached to this machine character by the
Yeah.
end of the movie, which is crazy. But I say I didn't love it because for whatever reason, it felt like by the point, like by the end where they get to that place, that factory, I think it was a steel
A steel mill.
Mill.
Yeah.
by the time they get there, I feel like things were going really like fast, like in a bad way. Like they were wrapping things up very quickly. I don't know what it was, but for me, it felt like it started to get a little sloppy. I don't know why, per se. I do find it like annoyingly stupid that they conveniently show up at a steel mill after their last car chase. They just happen to crash into a steel mill.
I have a thing I'll bring up that kind of goes along with that,
But so I'm like, I don't know. Like I just felt like it was like, okay, well the movie needs to end now. And so after that last chase, it felt like very quick to me that it was like, okay, well they're at a place where there's molten metal. Okay, they're limping through this factory with a, professional just killing machine. And then after, they blow him away and Arnold says, I have to die too. There's
Yeah.
that very
Yeah.
quick, okay, he dies, and then there's like a very quick narration, and then it's gone.
I have
That just seems so quick to me.
I have some thoughts on that too that we'll get to.
I
but-
don't, yeah. I that sounds really harsh though.
So-
I do like the ending overall.
So my question to you is, are you familiar with the original ending? And I'm pretty sure James Cameron wanted this ending.
I think I read about it. in the trivia,
Yeah.
but I didn't know prior. So.
Yeah. Like originally they show the future
Yeah.
with John grown up and the war didn't happen and it's like he's a senator or some
Yeah,
garbage.
which it doesn't sound good.
It's like on paper, like I could see it potentially working, but it's like I don't know. I kind of agree with the production studio on this one. Like they basically said that's too lighthearted and for such a dark movie. It's just such a huge tonal shift. And if you watch it the way that it looks in comparison, it is very like
Huge
oh wow.
Tone change.
Yeah, the tone changes. It's pretty wild, but no, I have some thoughts on that though that we'll get to later.
Okay. Okay, least favorite and favorite character or performance.
I had a hard time with least favorite.
I did as well.
Everyone's
Yeah.
pretty good in all of this. So here's my choice. There's one part, and we're going to talk about this again because it'll come up with awkward scenes, but his foster dad, like they really just like made him seem like a horrible person right up until he dies.
Yeah.
So much so that like when he dies, I don't even feel bad.
Yeah.
Which is funny coming from the person who literally just said how no one deserves to be killed. But like I was just like, gosh, he's just so awful in that moment. Like,
Yeah.
like he's just like, you know, swearing at the dog and saying how awful the dog is and that the kids were gonna. You know, I thought you were gonna. It's like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with him?
Yeah.
Like he's so miserable.
I thought about them as well, just because they're so on the nose, like
Yeah.
bad people. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's fair. I didn't go with them as my least favorite, but again, this is gonna sound terrible. I really, really was like stretching myself to find.
It was hard. It was
I
hard.
was almost gonna say
There isn't.
I don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
And so the answer I'm going to say is going to sound terrible.
Uh-oh. Don't you better not say like one of the main three. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So maybe I shouldn't.
This is gonna be...
I really don't have a lot to say about it though, because again, I'm stretching so far.
I think I know.
Just to give you an answer, I was going to say John.
Oh, okay.
And we've talked about, okay, he gave an incredible performance.
Yeah.
Like I really think he did a great job. But when I was really stretching myself, I did think like he has his annoying moments because he is a child.
Yeah.
And that's not because like I'm saying he did a bad acting job as a child.
Sure.
It's just like children in movies tend to be kind of annoying sometimes. But again, it was like a really big stretch because I do feel like they make his character kind of like a punk.
Yeah.
And he's really rude, kind of, where you're not really understanding why is he this rude. Like, we know he's in foster care, but like he's kind of a jerk well.
I mean, it makes sense given his upbringing a little bit, though.
Yeah, it does. So yeah, it's my poor answer for a bad character.
But it's nice to see that he has these growing moments too, though, where like he kind of has his own like moment where he realizes, oh shoot, I didn't realize the consequences of my actions when he basically sicks the Terminator on those random two punks. Yeah. And then he's like straight up gonna kill them, and he's like, whoa, back off.
Yeah.
I made a mistake, and he learns from it,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. But yeah,
and that's funny you bring that up because I forgot about that scene, and that's kind of an example of one of the parts that annoyed me prior to his learning experience.
He's a child.
When he's like,
very much a child.
I get to control you, I can tell you what to do, and you have to do it. That part is a little annoying.
The funny thing is again, as a kid, as a 10-year-old kid,
you're like, that's awesome.
This is amazing.
Yes.
So like that's so funny. As an adult, you start to be like, what an obnoxious little, like.
Yes. So it probably is because I'm an adult now. But what about favorite?
I really had a hard time with this one, more so, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I had to kind of dig down and say, okay, what was it about this movie originally that made me love it so much? Despite everything else, despite being impressed by so many other things. and I think everyone at this point knows what my answer is. This movie was made for Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is the movie for him.
Yep.
It's like, you can argue that like being a robot is the easiest thing to do as an actor, and that's why it works for him, because you don't think of Arnold as being this amazing actor, but he's actually putting a lot of effort into being that machine, you know, and you buy it. Like, you still buy it. And he also has an arc. By the end of the movie, it's like he has learned enough that he starts acting way more human.
Yep.
And that's on purpose. That's very much on purpose. And it hits. Like, when he tells John, hey, John, you have to go now. Like, I have to stay behind and fight this thing without you being here. Like, you feel that. And Arnold does a good job in that moment. And again, like, his character, everything about it, that's what I loved about this movie from the beginning. I wanted to be that. I wanted to be a Terminator because of this movie, right? Like, so yeah, Arnold and the T-800 that he plays, like, it's incredible to me.
Yep.
Still is.
Yep. And I don't know if it comes as a surprise, I also chose Arnold.
Nice.
Actually.
Okay.
I did debate because Linda Hamilton does an incredible job. Her performance.
She's arguably the MVP when you think of it as like, who would win an Oscar for this movie?
And it's
her.
That's what I wrote down. Like, I think my favorite character is the Terminator, Arnold's Terminator. But if it was really like an acting performance, she would take it. But that's not fair, because like they're just so different, right? What they have to do with their characters.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, I said basically all the same things with Arnold.
I remember I went to when they released this in 3D, I took a bunch of friends to go see it. And so, there were people who had not seen the movie before. People who like love movies, you know, they're kind of like us. They're a little bit of a critic. And that was the thing that stood out to me, is they straight up were like, wow, that actress was like the heart of this movie. Like, you know, even today they recognize that, which is cool.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's very, very impressive. She plays like that slightly unhinged.
Oh yeah. That was one of her like conditions with James Cameron. She's like, I'm not doing this unless I'm like crazy.
Yeah, she didn't want to be her like helpless self from the first one. She's like, I have to have some craziness in me and fight. Cool. So we're in agreement on Arnold rocking the robot, dude, not the dance move.
The leather jacket, the spiked up hair, the glasses. Oh man, so good.
It's so funny that like I had the same thoughts where someone would be critical of like, well, he's playing an emotionless character. What good is that? Like, anyone could do that, but like no, like he really makes that believable. Like, so believable. And as you said, like he pulls off the growing that he learns and becomes more human, and that's what leads to that emotional attachment at the end. Like, it's really great. But also, sorry, last plug on this, the other Terminator. He did good too.
Again, I wouldn't fault anybody. I wouldn't fault anybody for picking one of those three.
Don't want to undersell him because he was very believable as a machine as well.
Terrifying.
Yes.
Like, actually terrifying.
Yes. Okay. What is your favorite scene?
Oh my gosh.
Is that gonna like melt your brain trying to decide?
So the thing that's making it hard for me is I want to talk about like every scene, because there's so many good moments. And the thing that's hard is like the scenes go for so long. You're like, oh yeah, I like this sub scene of a scene, you know? Like,
I had the same predicament where I was like, I want to just say this is my favorite, but I want to talk about this other one. So like, obviously, the things that I wrote down is like the initial confrontation between the T-800 and the T-1000 is really well played, where you see like, the contrast of Robert Patrick's size to Arnold, but then like they meet and you realize, he can match him physically. This is scary.
And that works really well, which then leads into one of the greatest chase scenes ever put to film, frankly, which is why Dad showed it to us so much.
Yeah.
Arnold cocking the gun with one hand.
Yes.
It's oh my gosh. Like it's like, well, how can you not think that's amazing? And then all of Sarah escaping, everything that goes along with that, and I think the big one of that part that just like gives me chills even to this day. I had chills last night. Her reaction when she gets to the elevator and sees Arnold.
Yep.
It's like it hits so hard. It's
Yep.
like that trauma comes back and she's just like, shoot, all bets are off, and she's terrified, and it works so well. Yeah, so all that's really great. And any scene, I wrote down like literally any scene where like the T-1000 gets like mutilated is great. It always is amazing to me, like when his head gets split open and when he gets blown up, and anything like that is great to me. But let me get into it though. Like there's so much.
The favorite.
And then there's like he takes care of the police, doesn't kill any police, like total casualties, 0.0. The decimal makes it funny. My favorite scene of the movie, though, and I kind of knew this going in, I don't know how surprising this will be to you, but the scene where Sarah decides that she has to kill Miles Dyson, and she actually goes and almost goes through with it. Like that whole scene to me, again, it gets into that huge theme, that important message of the movie of how killing is never okay. That's really what this is getting at, I think. It's great too because like they very intentionally did this, and you might miss it, but she becomes the thing that traumatized her in that moment. She literally becomes a Terminator.
Yeah. She
has shut off all emotion purposefully because she needs to do this. And that's the thing I think that goes through her head in that moment when she, she's got the gun at him and she's just about to kill him. Right. I think she realizes the irony of what is happening and discovers her own humanity again a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because she's just like, oh my gosh, I've become the thing that I hate.
Yep.
I'm willing to try and change the future by altering the past as an emotionless being. And so and it finally breaks through that, oh my gosh, this is a father with a wife and a kid.
Yep.
And it also leads to her having this beautiful moment of reconnecting with her son, who she's probably been very emotionally distant to most of his life. And it also shows a moment where she sees that John, that's why he's the leader. That's why he's going to be the leader, is because he recognizes the value of human life more so than she even does. And that's the important part. It's not all of the training. It's not all of the, learning to use guns and everything else. It's that. He's really a person
his heart.
Yeah. And that all comes out in that scene. And then to cap it all off, again, the whole anytime, you get a little gory bit with a mechanical arm being shown, Arnold just cutting open his arm. It's an incredible moment. Yeah. You just had this emotional scene. It's like, oh, by the way, here's a knife. Show them that you're a machine. And you're just like, oh my gosh. He's just cutting his arm off. This is crazy.
And it looks so good.
Even today,
so realistic.
It's like, holy cow.
Except this time I was thinking, that's a little impractical,
I
right?
know.
Because wasn't there a line earlier? I don't know if it was. I think it was earlier where I think Sarah was like, we need to make sure stays as human looking as possible. I think there was a line somewhere where they were talking about they didn't want him to get damaged.
She says, will these heal up? Because you're not much, you won't be much good to us.
You won't be much good to us if you, don't look human. And then he just slices his whole arm off just to show the guy. It's like you could have showed him the fingers or his hand.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. It's and he just kind of assumes, he doesn't say anything. He's like, here, show him.
Yeah, he doesn't tell him.
And he just makes this decision, okay, I'm going to cut off my entire forearm.
Right.
I guess that's fine,
Yeah.
But I mean, as a kid, I'm like, yes, I want to see the details of this machine under there. But that's my favorite scene. That's my pick.
That actually surprises me. I just, that's more of an emotional and the weight of it.
I'm more about the emotional stuff usually.
Okay.
Honestly, it's like the moments in movies that make me feel something.
Yeah.
That's important to me a lot. Like, I didn't like tear up or anything like that, but like you feel that moment, and Linda Hamilton does a good job conveying this like shock, and so much is said in that moment. But
no, that's a good one. I am a lot simpler. Again, it's not my favorite movie, but I had two options. One that I didn't go with was The Asylum Breakout.
Yeah.
Because all of that is just awesome. And like you said with Linda Hamilton, when Sarah sees Arnold come around and she doesn't know that he's good.
Yep.
That's incredible. But what's funny is like the scene I did choose has a similar thing. It's the first Terminator interaction, the two Terminators.
Yeah.
I actually picked that because I was so surprised at how entertained I was by that. I was like, this is awesome. Like
the build up to it is so good.
Yes. And like Arnold's walking around with his giant shotgun in a flower box, and
it's subtle reference to the band that did that song, Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
Guns N' Roses. Like it was like a not too subtle nod to the soundtrack. Anyway.
Well, I did not pick up on that, but I just thought that's awesome. He's carrying these flowers, and you know it's a gun. But then John has that same. It doesn't hit quite as well as like Sarah's moment, just because of her past. But he doesn't know. He sees that this one, police officer dude is trying to get him, and then he rounds the corner, and there's this other guy, and he has no idea they're both whether they're both coming for him. And then just seeing Arnold and, the T-1000 beat on each other for the first time, where, like you said, you see that matchup and you're like, this scrawny dude and Arnold, but no, it doesn't matter. And he just like totally can compete just as strong, and they're smashing each other through walls and literally seeing like the brick wall cave in. Like that's just so satisfying to me. So yeah, that's the one I picked.
It's great. I was tempted to pick that one. It's really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. What about awkward scene? Is there an awkward part? Scene?
I'm going to mention two, and it's funny because I'm guessing... I wouldn't be surprised if we picked a similar thing here, but like I'm going to mention... I do find it really cringy how awful his foster dad is. I already mentioned that.
Yeah.
Like that in that moment, I'm just like, gosh, he's so cringy. Like, I don't know what the point of him being so awful is. Like, is he trying to say that like foster care is broken? Like, is that the point? Because it's so bad. Like, I don't know.
They wanted John to come from a bad place.
That makes me cringe more than the one I'm going to mention, but I'm going to mention it anyway because I'm sure we'll bring it up. I think you'll bring it up.
Probably mine.
The nurse? Is it a nurse?
I know. I kept calling him workers.
Him randomly licking her face is just like, it's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Like, but to give a little context, though, in the extended cut, you actually see a lot more of how the nurses are actually pretty abusive to her.
Oh, okay.
Even outside of that moment. It's the same guy, too, along with another guy. Like, they're pretty mean to her.
Okay.
Like, there's a part where they have to force her to take some medication, and it's awful. Oh. Like, they throw her on the ground and, like, hit her and like, force it in and, like, jam her throat and all that stuff. They're pretty mean to her. The implication, and you don't get a lot of that with just seeing the lick. Maybe you do, but it's like the implication is that she's been pretty poorly treated.
Yeah. No.
Like generally. Like
sure
they think she's crazy, but they're also not treating her well.
Yeah. That was my pick because
I figured.
Like there wasn't a lot to pick from, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's
and I
really...
knew that was like on the nose, like that's an uncomfortable thing. I don't
It's gross.
Like seeing people in those situations abused either. It reminds me of Kill Bill.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just horrendous, and I won't watch
that scene.
But it's the same thing where you're like, okay, well, they're sexually abusing people in a situation like that.
Yeah, it's and to think they really did that. That was real.
He really licked her face. That actor.
It's like an acting moment.
How many times did he lick her face?
Oh gosh. You always think about that with these movies where it's like, all right, just do it. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It probably smelled terrible.
Yeah, it probably did.
What would you say is this movie's biggest pitfall?
Okay,
Does it have one?
I have a few things that I wanted to bring up. Kind of a lesser. Okay, this is a lesser one. The timeline of Terminator is a little bit weird. Like, for example, let me ask you a question. Do you know when the first movie takes place? Like, what year it came out?
84.
84, right.
Yeah.
When did this movie come out?
91.
91. How old is John Connor?
I don't know.
So, I mean, you think about it and you're like, okay, 84, Sarah...
He would be 7.
Sarah and Kyle conceive John.
6.
So it's like
6
a year,
7.
The next year maybe he's 6. So you start thinking about it and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, this doesn't seem right. And then...
But the movie's not actually taking place in 91.
That's the key.
That's okay.
You look at it and you're like, wait a minute. The movie came out in 91, but they I don't know that they say this explicitly anywhere in the movie, but like the movie's meant to take place in 1995. So it's like a time jump into the future when it came out. So that's a little weird. And then on top of that, like John, the third Terminator, just said whatever and decided to say he was 13, which that doesn't even make sense at all because 84, 13 years later would have been 1997 at the best. And 1997 is when Judgment Day happens, so that doesn't make any sense. So Terminator 3 was just like, whatever, because he probably was roughly 13, but like, he's supposed to be a 10-year-old, to be clear. I find that to be a little bit confusing. It's not a huge deal, but like, anyway, you start thinking about that, and it's like, wait a minute. Oh, God, how do I say it? So, in addition to that, one thing that always bugged me is that the whole thing where he says, my father told her this, the line, there is no fate but what we make for ourselves. Mm-hmm. The speech that he's referencing from the first movie, he never says that, which kind of drives me nuts. Like, I think it was technically in the script, but it didn't make it into the final cut.
Yeah, okay. So
the closest he gets is he says something along the lines of like, the future is not set. He does say that part.
Okay.
So that kind of bugs me. And then I want to save the last thing, but like this is something that I think frustrated a lot of people is the twist that Arnold is the good guy. Because that moment that you mentioned is your favorite scene is kind of amazing because if you go in this blind, you don't technically know that Arnold's the good guy.
Yeah, that's true.
That was completely spoiled in all the trailers. Or at least not all of it, but the trailers spoiled that twist. I guess I get why they did it for marketing purposes, but like I feel like that was a huge loss.
Yeah.
But also like they kind of had to, I think.
Yeah, because the rest of the movie.
If you went into the movie blind, which I never really had the chance, I don't think, that would have been an amazing reveal. Can you imagine that? Like to go from the first movie and you just assume he's the bad guy.
Right.
That'd be incredible. Yeah. Here's the one I really want to get into, though. Can we talk about the narration in this movie?
That's on mine.
So, I don't know how typical this is. Okay, my sort of very, high-level, maybe ignorant thought when it comes to screenwriting is that most people say that narration more often than not is not great.
Yep.
It's a cop-out for... I couldn't think of a way to visually do this.
You should show rather than tell.
And so that's fine. There's some movies I absolutely love that have a lot of narration in them, and that's, it doesn't bother me one bit personally. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing that gets to me with this movie, though. They have that great intro. I actually really appreciate her little exposition dump.
Yeah.
And they could have done what they did in the first movie with just a big text block that you
Yeah.
read. They have her narrate. It works really well for the beginning.
Yep.
Here's the part that's weird. No more narration for literally the first half of the movie.
Yep.
You're an hour in and it has not happened. And then the last half, there are like 3 more instances of it.
Yep.
And they're not even narration in my mind. It's more just you were hearing her inner thoughts.
Yes.
It starts becoming not narration.
It's really odd.
But saying that though, I really like the internal monologue that she has when she's talking about the Terminator being a father figure. I really like that moment.
Yeah.
How else would they have done that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that they could have visually gotten that across. So I like that that's there, but then every other narration after that, I actually think is kind of
Yeah.
like she has that moment where she sets up the freeway or highway metaphor, and then she revisits that at the end. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just okay to me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't love it, but like in my head, I'm like, maybe I would have felt differently if there was more narration throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. Because I remember, like you said, I didn't note it that it was gone, like, for
Yeah.
most of the
Yeah.
first half. But when it came up again, I thought, well, that's weird.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is coming back?
Yeah, because, like, it made sense for the opening.
Mm-hmm.
It's because we were getting that opening exposition, and that's great and fine. But why? What the weird random decision to just throw it in like an hour later?
Yeah.
And I agree with you that I enjoy what she's saying
Right.
regarding the father figure. But because it just kind of came out of nowhere, you're kind of like thrown off.
Yeah.
Like, what? Oh, there's narrating in this movie. Because I didn't even think of the first instance as narrating.
Yeah, I did a quick little search on like the Terminator subreddit to see if anyone had ever mentioned this before. I couldn't find anything. I was half tempted to put a post up and be like, what do you guys all think about the narration? Is it weird? Like, is it a little bit weird?
Yeah.
Love the movie, but it's a little weird, right?
It is a little weird. And I put like, I don't like hate it. But
Yeah.
when we're grasping again at straws,
it's
it's like
it's one of the few weak things that
it is,
I can think of.
Yes, it is a weak point. And I compare it obviously to Titanic, my favorite movie. It has narration, which is also like not great, but that doesn't bother me because she's literally telling a story.
Right. I was going to say, I don't even know if I think of that as narration because
She's telling a story.
she is literally
Yeah.
telling a story. It's like Princess Bride when he's reading the book to the
Yeah,
kid. It's
that's
like they
fair.
establish that that's happening.
Yeah.
You know?
But we talked about like how that narration is kind of a weakness because he's like telling us so much like on the nose
yeah,
crap
yeah.
through that. But anyway, we're on the same page with the narration. That is a weakness.
Was there anything else that you thought of as a pitfall?
Yeah, but I feel weird mentioning it because I don't really have anything to back it up. It kind of goes back to me not loving the ending.
Yeah, yeah.
For whatever reason, I felt like the second half of the movie was a little slow.
The middle.
I don't know why.
The middle kind of it sort of takes it takes kind of a slow turn. Like
Yeah, but the weird thing is, even when it picks back up, because you've got all these action sequences, I
Sure.
still felt like, why? Like, I don't know if I felt like it was dragging, like maybe it was a little too long. I don't know, because I loved the first half, like
Yeah.
loved it, and then maybe it slowed down after they got away, and it was a little slower with like the Miles Dyson stuff. I don't know.
It's weird. You could almost argue that they did such a good job with a couple of this, big action sequences in the first half that when you come back to it, it's like they're not really topping those necessarily. Maybe they're matching them at best.
Yeah.
And so it feels almost like, oh, we're doing this again.
That might be it.
Like
because
just
they
a
were,
little bit.
yeah, because they did have that huge motorcycle truck chase, and then they do another big vehicle chase, and it's like, well, we're doing this again. Like it's still entertaining, but it's again.
Yeah,
that's probably what it was.
They did a helicopter,
Yeah.
and then they did a a big semi truck. It's like, and some of those it's interesting because they're literally matching beats from the first movie too.
Yeah.
Like there's so many direct, like I guess they're are they homages? Like there's so many direct homages to the first movie. Like it's kind of ridiculous almost. For some reason it doesn't bother me. Like you would think like, oh, you're just repeating yourself. For some reason, it doesn't bother me because there's just like a slight twist to it, and it works. But like it is, I should show you a breakdown sometime. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know the first one well enough to pick up on that. So
yeah, like
interesting.
But there's a lot.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the music?
Oh my gosh.
Jeff? I think you're going to have a lot more to say about this than me.
Let's talk about Brad Fiedel for a second. Brad Fiedel did both Terminator movies. And it's really funny because when I was growing up, I used to think, like, oh my gosh, the first movie is so, like, I don't know if lo-fi is the word, but it was very old school kind of, synthesizer sounds. Like it felt like that. And I remember as a kid, I was like comparing that to the first one. I was like, oh my gosh, they did a full-on orchestra with a big, with a big like band, like all that stuff, choir and all that. I was like, this is crazy. This is awesome that they did that. But I actually found out not long ago that that's not at all what this movie is. It was very much all still synthesizers. That's the crazy part is like there's this really good video on YouTube where they talk about how he was kind of pushing the limits of these new synth, new keyboards that became available, and he really baked that in. And it was actually a bit of a controversy when they were making it because it's this huge budget movie, and at the time, getting a huge orchestra and doing that was a pretty big deal and was typically what you did. Brad Fiedel did the score in his garage essentially.
Okay.
So, which is wild. I mean, it's really great, but like they did these things where it was like he was being almost like a metaphor where he's taking these samples in the computer, like on the keyboard, like the main theme for the T1000, that kind of like that very weird sound. That is literally a slowed down, like either a horn sound or a saxophone sound that's been stretched. And you think about who it's for the T1000.
Stretchy, yeah.
and then Arnold, he just like hit like a pan or a pot and recorded it. And that's his like rhythmic beat. And that's the thing I pointed out is it's cool that they both have their own distinct rhythmic theme. It's not really a theme song. It's just like they have their rhythm.
Yeah.
And they're very much like reflective of who they are. That stretched horn sound, it's a stretching of a digital thing for the T1000, which is stretchy. And Arnold is a very hard hitting, like, clank sound, and he's that's representative of him. And you see that all the time in the movie, and it's really great. But
so interesting.
Yeah, like there's so much. Like, I love the theme song is iconic. It's one of the few things I've like memorized how to play on the piano.
My question with that, because I put that as my favorite part, is the theme.
Yeah, the theme is great.
But I not remembering the first movie very well. Is that in the first movie?
Yes.
Okay. I figured that it was the same theme carried over, but
super like lo-fi synth sound for it. And then there's the piano one too. The piano one's beautiful. That's the love theme for the movie, but that's what I learned how to play is the piano version. But yeah, that theme held. That's actually one of the reasons I feel like the other movies kind of failed for me a little bit. they just refused to use that same theme. Like, they used it a little bit. They used the main, dun 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 dun. Like, they used that, I think in every single one to some degree. But, like, shout out to Danny Elfman, though. His score was actually pretty good for Salvation. I liked it. And it was, like, you could tell it was derived from the theme. It was different, but it was derived. You could see it was connected. No, I was, God, as far as, like, my favorite part, like, there's so many great moments. God. I'm probably going to say the theme song as well, but I wanted to give a shout out to the Bad to the Bone song. When he comes out. They just leaned into, like, yeah, he's awesome. Like, they leaned into it like, this is great. I really love the very beginning sound, the very ominous, like, dun, dun, just, like, really simple. And that's just, like, a slowed down electric violin, and it sounds great. But I also love the buildup of the music when Arnold, like, just, I wrote this down because it's really amazing. The buildup to them crashing into the factory is really well done, and it's just, like, the excitement builds with that song. Arnold has this great moment of walking casually across the truck in the semi-truck and just blasting the T-1000 in the face with and then he turns the wheel and makes it fall. Like, that's an amazing sequence.
Yep.
And the music is really well done. And I also love I think the actual pick for me, and it includes the main theme, is the ending. All the emotional music with John finding out that he's, he has to sacrifice himself because he's got to get rid of the chip. All that music is great. And then it leads into that really awesome, like, beat that eventually turns into the theme, but it's got that do-do, do-do, do-do. I'm not doing it justice, but, like, that build up, and then she pushes the button and the theme starts playing. That's it for me. All of that music right there is perfect. Okay. I love it.
Yeah, that is really good. Yeah, the only other thing I was going to mention, which I don't really know how to articulate, is just some of, like, the random, like, sharp sounds.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but, like, that's how I describe it. There's these, like, sharp, things that really contribute to, like,
the
horror elements of it, that I'm like, yeah, that elevates it a lot. I don't know what they're doing, but
I mean it's all on that keyboard, I think, for the most part. He recorded some samples for it, but, like, it's all in that keyboard.
Yeah.
But it is an example of a score where largely it's just serving the action.
Yeah, because
it's kind of in line with, like, some of the action music in Inception to me.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this isn't something I would listen to or hum. It's just, it's very rhythmic. It's very trying to get your blood pumping,
Yeah, because that's how I felt about it. It was like the main theme stands out to me because I love, like, a beautiful theme like that, with the emotion that it brings. But most of the movie to me is very just contributing to the intensity of the action, so it doesn't stand out to me as, like, oh, this is beautiful, it's incredible music, but, like, it just elevates the intensity.
It somehow manages to, like, straddle both sides of that, where it's like, there was a period of time where it's like no movie had music that I could hum. It didn't have this iconic John Williams-esque theme that you can sing to yourself. There was a phase where we just had none of that. And this movie, it's like, it has both. It has the stuff that's just very much serving the action, and then it also has the epic theme, which I love.
Were there any unexpected crew or cast?
I wanted to give a shout out to Bill Wisher. So he was the one who helped co-write this movie and there's a great podcast where he is interviewed and talks a little bit about that and talks about some of the stuff that he contributed to it. Like, I think he came up with her using the needle with the Drano or whatever and putting it in his neck. That was his idea, I think. And James Cameron was like, that is disgusting, but we're putting it in there. I I almost put that down for cringy scene, actually. Like, that makes me so uncomfortable to think about that needle sitting in his neck. But Bill Wisher is in both Terminator movies.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know he even was a writer on it, so that surprised me.
In the first movie, he plays a cop that Arnold steals his car from, and right before he steals it, he like bashes his head into the car and then tosses him aside. That's Bill Wisher. And then he makes another appearance when Arnold gets thrown out the window by the T-1000 when they first have their confrontation. He's like the dude standing with a camera with like a bit of a shock on his face. That's Bill Wisher.
Interesting.
So he's in both movies. Some people think that it's the same guy and he's having like a moment. I don't think that that's necessarily true, but he's in both movies, which is cool.
Interesting. Okay. Was there anyone else, or
no? That was it for me.
Okay.
I didn't have anyone else I wanted to bring up.
I happened to notice that someone was credited as twin Sarah.
Right.
And I had no idea that she has an identical twin sister, Linda Hamilton.
She does.
What?
Yeah, so when they did the scene where he mimics her at the end, they did that in camera.
What the heck? Because I was thinking, like, I wonder how they did that. Like,
because it looks good.
Yeah, because I don't see anything weird about it. Like, maybe like a little weird, and that's probably because it was actually a real person, and they might have like slightly different mannerisms or something. Yeah. But that's crazy.
And the thing that's funny is in the extended cut, they took advantage of that even more. They did this whole elaborate scene. Did you read about this at all?
Briefly, yeah.
They did this whole elaborate scene where Arnold, it shows them drilling into his head to pull out his chip.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they set it up is that they did a fake mirror. And it was really a window. And on the other side, Arnold is sitting there, the real Arnold. And Linda Hamilton is there pretending, mimicking. And her twin sister is on the other side in the foreground with a dummy of Arnold.
Yeah.
And so they can do this cool shot where they go around and all the parallax is correct. And they come up and they look at the top of his head and show her drilling into it.
That's crazy.
They did this whole elaborate sequence and it didn't make it into the final cut. And the cop that gets mimicked in the psych ward that he stabs in the eye, another twin.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, that's how they did that scene. So they had two sets of twins in this movie.
Wow. Well, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to, I'll say her name, Leslie Hamilton.
Leslie
Hamilton Guerin, who sadly passed away in 2020.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Shoot.
But, yeah, that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Had no idea. Never thought of Linda Hamilton as a as a twin. And I don't know why that's that interesting to me. There's lots of twins, but I feel like identical twins, that's usually surprising to me.
I think the thing that's interesting about that for me is like, you think about this movie as like, it was a pioneer of CGI, right?
Mm.
But so much was done in a practical way. And that's a great example where it's like, oh, you have a twin. That's convenient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's use that.
Rather than try to do the CGI.
And it's like they probably could have.
Yeah.
It maybe
practical, I think a lot of times practical comes off a lot better. I mean, obviously if it's done right.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the use of practical effects, and so
there's a lot of them in this movie.
Yeah.
Like I think they said there's only like 3 minutes of actual CGI robot.
Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy.
Like all the future war sequence, that was all models.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's actually one of the things I put
for IMDb
for my favorite trivia.
Yeah.
I found 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because it kind of takes me back to Titanic. I love seeing the practical effects using like miniature models.
Yep.
And so when I saw apparently the Los Angeles nuclear fire dream or whatever,
it's funny because so much of that destruction looks really good, but then there's one shot that looks pretty dated.
Yeah, no, I agree. But
the miniatures look great.
Yeah, considering that they used miniatures for that, I was like, that's so cool. Because I thought it was cool when they did it in Titanic. And then the other trivia was how they did the T-1000 frozen breaking.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
that was really interesting.
Didn't they get a guy who was missing his arm?
Yeah, so, like, they took shots of an amputee that had prosthetics to look like Robert Patrick. Is that his name?
Robert Patrick.
So they did a combination of shots of this amputee and then actually the real actor with his, like, limbs buried underneath the set.
Yep.
And then just did really clever, like, editing to make those
with cuts and everything else.
It's like, that's so cool.
And it looks really convincing.
It does. They did so good on that. It's crazy.
Yeah. The practical effects are insane in this movie.
Yep. What trivia did you
So I want so I'll mention one that I got from IMDb, then I have another one that wasn't, but I don't know if you knew this. Maybe you read it. Edward Furlong, they filmed for so long that his voice literally changed and he got taller.
Yep. I read that.
So they had to go back and, like, redub all of his lines.
That's crazy.
So that it was consistent. There was, like, one part they kept his original, like, actual sound, and it was because it was an emotional scene. And then, like, he had to stand in holes occasionally so he matched the same height with his mom. The part I wanted to get into, though, is, like, love this movie. So it shouldn't be surprising that I watched the movie with the James Cameron commentary probably a couple times in my life. But he made this interesting point that, like, and I'm sure a lot of writers have done this isn't unique, but, like, he said that they really went out of their way to make sure that the movie didn't fall victim to or have examples of what is referred to, and maybe you've heard of this, Deus Ex Machina. Have you heard of this term? It's a writing term.
I have, but I don't remember it.
The general idea is that Deus Ex Machina is when a writer writes his characters into a corner or into a situation that there's literally no way for them to get out of it. And so what they do is they introduce some very random event that saves them, right? A good example is, like, in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Clint Eastwood has a rope around his neck, and it's like he's screwed. He's gonna die. He's gonna get hung or hanged. But then that's not even a good example because they establish that there's cannon fire in the background, but he ultimately gets saved by a cannon accidentally hits the building, and so he gets out. So that's an example of Deus Ex Machina. But he makes it a point that, like, we tried really hard to not have that happen in this movie. Everything kind of happens because the characters are smart. They figure it out. They get out of it. And but he pointed out that there's one example he would say is Deus Ex Machina, and it's when she's about to kill Miles Dyson. They threw in the kid hitting his foot with the toy car, and that makes him bend over to avoid getting shot in the head. That was the one time he was like, that was a bit of a cheat in our minds. We that was a little bit Deus Ex Machina right there.
Okay.
Like, that's kind of, like, ridiculous that happened to save him from that moment. But to your point, it was pretty convenient that they randomly crashed into a still meal.
Yes. Yeah, that really bothered me because I was just like, what are the chances that they would just stumble upon molten metal in a factory?
Yeah.
So stupid.
I know. It's like, in my head, I'm, like, trying to justify it. Like, oh yeah, the Terminator was planning it. You know, he was the one driving, right? Like, he was driving in that direction.
The freaking hobbits have to hike mountains to get to Mordor. They just stumbled.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's how the first one basically ends. They happen to end up at a factory that happens to have a thing that can, you know, smash a Terminator. You know, it's the same kind of deal. Like, that's another homage. Like, it's very similar.
Yeah, it's all good though.
Yeah.
What about a quote? Do you have a favorite quote?
I'll be brief. I have a lot that I'm like, I was actually surprised. I went a long time in the movie like, oh, there's not a ton of stuff that I'm like, that's really quotable for me. But the part that makes me laugh the most is the one I'll mention. It's the whole sequence of John telling him, you gotta promise you're not gonna kill anybody. And he's like, right. And he's like, you swear? And he does this so many times where he just gives this like deadpan, like, what? What are you talking about? And then he says, you swear you won't kill anybody? I swear I will not kill anybody. And then immediately he shoots that poor security guard in the legs. But then he has that killer line. He's just like, he'll live. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's my favorite. Like that part, the quotes in that part are just so funny and great to me.
That is a great one.
What about you?
I picked two. One, just, it's a good emotional line at the end when Arnold tells John, like, he knows why he cries now.
Yeah.
The line is, what is it? I can't find it in my notes. I know now why you cry, but it's something I can never do.
Yep.
That hits. It's a good line.
It is a very good line. I actually wrote that one down.
Yeah, so I had to mention it because it is a really good one. But the one that hit me as really funny, I don't know why, is like I think it's after they're leaving the asylum. Mm-hmm. They're in that car, and so they've just rescued Sarah.
Yeah.
And she just, like, you know, she's super out of breath, and she, like, stares at Arnold Schwarzenegger. So what's your story?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I thought that was really funny for some reason. The delivery, I guess. It's great.
That's one of the few scenes that bothers me in the movie. I don't know if they used rear projection for the background of the outside of the car of them driving. It looks really bad.
I didn't notice.
That's the one part that I'm always like, oh, this driving scene looks horrible.
Interesting.
Anyway, I find it interesting. Neither of us mentioned Hasta La Vista, Baby, which is probably the most famous one from this movie.
Yeah.
And he also says, I'll be back, because he has to say that in every Terminator movie. But it's funny that the I'll be back line and the Hasta La Vista line as a kid didn't like hit me the same way as it did a lot of people. Like, because the I'll be back line is pretty subtle in this movie, in my opinion. Like, he basically says, stay here, I'll be back.
Yeah.
And as a kid, having not seen the first one, where it's a much more iconic moment, that didn't even strike me as, like, an iconic line. It was just like, oh, yeah, that's a thing you would say.
Yeah, even hearing it in this one now, I was like, that didn't really stand out. Is that really, like, a line that it's famous for?
And then, like, Hasta La Vista, Baby, like, it's fine, it's good. Like, it for some reason doesn't have as much impact as it did for some people. For me, like, it's a good.
It kind of just came off cheesy to me.
I think it's meant to be this really funny payoff moment, and there's nothing wrong with it for me. But it doesn't hit hard for me like it does for some people.
No, I agree on that. What do you think Sarah had to say about this movie? What do you think she rated it or said?
I'm going to go harsh. Sarah claims we have watched this movie together, and I don't really have many memories of that. Like, I feel like I actively avoid watching some of the movies I love, like, when Sarah's around. Not because she doesn't approve necessarily, but more just like, I don't think she'll enjoy most of them.
So you didn't have her rewatch it with you?
No, I didn't. But she, I think she went below a 5. I think she maybe even went with a 3.
Wow.
I think this is not her type of movie at all. It's just not her thing.
This is actually the longest description she gave. Do you want me to read everything she said?
Oh, please. Please do. I'm so ready for this.
So you were close. She gave it a 4. She said, quote, "This isn't a movie I will probably ever choose to sit through again."
Again. So she's...
But I won't go any lower because I don't think it's a bad movie. I can appreciate that it's a well-made, iconic sci-fi action movie. And there are some sci-fi and some action movies I like. This one's just a little too much for me. Too violent, too 80s, too corny.
It's not 80s. How dare she?
It just barely left the 80s. It has 80s vibes.
Takes place in 95. What are we talking about right now?
I thought that was great.
Okay, well, I mean, I was pretty close. Yeah, definitely not her type of movie in my mind. But
yeah,
this is an interesting one, admittedly. Where do you think Kyle landed on this? And I need to give a shout out. It does tickle me just a little bit that you married a Kyle and I married a Sarah.
Yes.
The parents of John Connor.
Yep.
I just, that tickles me a little bit.
It indeed is something that is worth mentioning because it is funny. It's very funny.
And my son's name is Miles.
I was going to ask you again, can I carry over my last random question from Uncle Buck? Did you name your son Miles? Because there's a Miles in your favorite movie.
I want to go on record. No. But I did think about it after the fact.
Yeah, as soon as that guy's name came up, I was like, oh, there's a second movie on his list with Miles in it.
I would say if I did name him after anybody, this is more likely than Uncle Buck, the little kid. So, but no, I did not think about this movie when I came up.
You did not name him after the Oppenheimer of Terminator.
I thought about it after the fact and thought it was funny, but no.
So Kyle, I will say he did not watch this, unfortunately.
I know.
I really had wanted him to, but it didn't happen. But my guess, if he had watched the movie, I think he would have given it a 7.
Okay.
I think he would really enjoy this movie, actually, if he sat down to watch it. And I partly say that because, well, one, it's a really good action movie, and Kyle likes action movies.
Yeah.
But we actually watched, I want to say, the second half of this movie when it randomly was on TV years ago. And you know Kyle doesn't watch movies that are, quote, old.
I know. I'm still shocked he watched Uncle Buck.
Yeah. So his thing is usually he doesn't want to watch movies that are before the 2000s. But back, like, I don't know how many years now, maybe 7 or 8 or so, it did come on TV and he got sucked in and he watched the last half, and I was like, I'm telling you, this is a good movie. You'd like it. So I think he'd give it a 7 if he actually watched it.
I wonder if he remembers that watching it on TV, because
he probably doesn't.
Here is what he said.
Oh no.
He said, this is pretty clever. He said, on a scale of 1 to 10, I saw probably a 2 or a 3 of this movie. And that 2 or 3 out of 10 of the movie I saw,
oh my gosh.
Probably a 6. Huh. And I'm assuming that was like the very beginning of the movie, and he fell asleep, because then he proceeded to say this. He said, it was interesting enough to keep watching, but not to keep me awake. Because it was late at night, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's so funny. So he's referring to last night when I was finishing the second half of the movie.
Oh.
So he was present when I was starting the second half, and he probably fell asleep like 10 minutes in or something like that.
Yeah.
Because he just doesn't stay awake.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, okay. So he's guessing a 6. So what we're saying here then is I need to get him to watch it because he probably will enjoy it.
I think his brother bought the movie. Like, that's the reason you own it, is I think your brother-in-law bought it.
I think you're right. I think he wanted to buy the Terminator movies or something.
Maybe
I was surprised it wasn't you.
Well, I already owned it somewhere, although...
Yeah, that's what it was. I reached out to you and I was like, don't we already have this? Did you just buy these? Anyway.
I bought the extended cut. I did buy that because it was on sale.
Okay. All right. So we're to our last random questions. Yeah?
Yeah.
The ones that I struggle with so badly.
And full disclosure, I struggled this time a little bit.
So again, I have 2.
2? Oh, gosh.
But I'm trying to narrow it down right now. Yeah, I'm going to go with the lame one because, well, they're both lame. I'm going to go with the first one. First lame one.
Okay.
Is this your favorite James Cameron movie? I want to know right now.
I mean, I think if we're going by the ratings that we have right now, with it being my number 2 movie,
Yeah, I guess that's a given.
it kind of has to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was even lamer than I expected it to be.
I will say Aliens is a very close second, though.
Yeah.
Like I almost am teetering a little bit with Aliens.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. I guess I didn't know that it was your second when I wrote that question.
That's fair.
Because I know you've got like at least 4 James Cameron movies on your list, so...
It's true.
Anyway.
I'm not ashamed of it. Maybe a little bit. But
Maybe a little bit.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to word my question for you. I don't think you should be nervous by this one. So in sort of the, I don't even know how you say this, in the action movie fandom, that's out there, Sarah Connor is a very iconic action heroine.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of put up on the pedestal of like, she's in the Mount Rushmore of action, like female action stars or action characters.
Okay.
Right. And so that's pretty significant, and I think that's, probably a huge deal to a lot of women in the world that like, oh yeah, we have these action stars like Ellen Ripley, Sarah Connor. I'm having a hard time thinking of any other ones, which is sad. I'll throw Wonder Woman out there. I don't know. That's not... Anyway.
That's why I'm worried where this question's going.
My question to you is, like, in terms of, like, strong female characters in movies, does Sarah Connor rank anywhere for you? And if not, who does?
See, that's where I thought you were going, and I am trying to think of other ones.
Maybe a simpler question is like, does she even enter the conversation for you? Because this movie's not one of your favorites, but like I know you're aware of her.
Oh, she definitely does.
Does she?
Yeah, I mean, I wish that I had more in mind. Like I can't even think of any. Like you said, the only ones that come to mind are Ripley from Aliens and Alien and Sarah Connor. And so I'm not sure, and like given that I can't think of any on the spot, between those two, like Sarah Connor would be my number one just because
okay.
I think I'm more into Terminator than Alien, I think.
Yeah, and it's an interesting question for me too, where it's like I don't know that I don't know that women think about movies that way. They do, but it's like there's been a big push, in cinema recently, where it's like we need to have strong female characters, which is great, that's wonderful, but then you have that, group of people who is like, well, you act like there's never been any, and there have been, Granted, maybe not a lot of them.
Yeah, I wish I could think of more. That's going to bother me now because I'm sure there are.
But it's like, does that matter to you? Like, is that something that you have consciously thought about? Like, I want more of that. And I don't know. Like, I don't, if I had to guess, I'm guessing it's not something that you think about a lot, but maybe you do.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that I think about a lot. I'm one of those people, and I need to be careful about how I go down this line of thought. I am not like someone who's like, we need strong woman power portrayed on screen.
Yeah.
I'm not like that. It actually really bothers me when I feel like that's being pushed, when that's an agenda
when
being
it's
pushed.
a little too on the nose, maybe.
Yeah.
I think there's
flashback to Avengers Endgame.
Oh gosh, that's a pretty
Marvel has done some bad things, in my opinion, with trying to push the woman.
It's an
power.
example of good intentions that go badly, like we've been talking about.
Yeah, so it's like I enjoy seeing strong female leads, like literally strong in this case, like she's going through battle and war and all this stuff with but I don't like have this strong desire to see more of it. I think it's hard to pull off. Where I say, like, I need to be careful where I'm going. I have a hard time believing women, like, overpowering men in, like, action sequences and things like that. When it comes to, like, women and men fighting,
there's a certain, like, it's just unrealistic in a lot of cases.
And I know that's not, like, 100% true, and I'm sure there can be very strong women that could take down men, but in the movies it seems like they just don't pull it off very well. It's hard for me to believe.
Did you have that feeling when you watched Ballerina recently?
Yes.
Just like a little bit?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it
fair.
just doesn't work for me. Every time I see some scrawny woman fighting so aggressively and intensely, I'm like, against a man, I just have to wonder. I'm not saying it's not possible, but like almost every time I see it in a movie,
you question it a little bit.
I'm just like, could they really do that? Like, I just don't know.
It's funny. I was surprised you and Kyle didn't like that movie more. I actually had a good time with that movie. I liked it.
It was fine.
Yeah.
I guess I was hoping for more. Had a little bit too high of expectation or something.
Yeah, my take is that, like, I feel like the female characters that you really, really like are not in action movies.
Yeah, because I wanted to say, like, I think Kate Winslet's a really strong female lead in Titanic, but not the same, right?
It's a different kind of thing, right? But
she's very strong in that movie, but it's not the same thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, Sarah Connor is a bad A. Let's put it that way.
There's our upbringing coming out.
Yes,
yeah,
we'll
no.
be severely judged for that, but
no, that was a deeper conversation than I expected.
Yeah,
so, cool.
Sorry, that probably brought our episode up an extra 10 minutes.
Oh
but.
no!
Anyway, thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Becca.
That was a fun one to talk about.
Yeah,
and a fun one to revisit because I very much enjoyed watching it. So.
Oh, cool.
All right.
How do we end these things again?
Just awkwardly, usually. I guess we'll be talking about one of my movies next time.
Yeah, that seems right.
Until then.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.